Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for the Untangle Tech Talk series. Today we'll be demonstrating our reports application, and our Director of QA, John Coffin, will be showcasing how you can create your own custom reports in NG Firewall. My name is Shannon Miles. I'm part of the product marketing team here, and I'll be your host today. As I mentioned, John Coffin is here, and he will be going through the slides and giving us a hands-on demonstration of how to create custom reports. John, if you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. If you have any audio issues, please just be sure to select the correct audio preference on the audio panel on the right-hand side. If you do select to use a phone, you will need to dial in and use the access code provided. And as a reminder, this webinar is being recorded, so you'll have the option to rewatch or go back and revisit areas that you need to follow up on. And as always, we'll be answering questions throughout the presentation, so please submit any questions through our Q&A box. And as always, if we're not able to answer your question, please send an email to sales@untangle.com or support@untangle.com. Now, before I pass this on to John, I just want to reiterate that this is a very highly technical webinar. John's going to be diving into some very technical aspects of our product. So if you're not familiar with Untangle, the solution, or any networking concepts, I would not recommend you listening to this webinar, as you may be a little bit confused. So we do have another webinar series called our 101 webinars that are more higher level topics. So you can look at those webinars and any upcoming on our website. All right then, so now we're going to pass it over to John, who will be going through the presentation.
Thanks, Shannon, and thanks everyone for joining us for this webinar. We're really excited about the new reporting. It was new in 11.2. We've added some new features to it, and I think you'll find it pretty interesting and quite useful in having a better idea of the type of areas in your network that you're looking in, that you're interested in, and what you want to do. First of all, the Untangle pretty much logs every single bit of data that goes across your network, and it keeps it all in a nice database that you can repurpose to any kind of reporting that you want. As you know, we have some pretty standardized reporting. If you go to reports, you get a pretty good list, and you get a lot of top topics here of what was used and so forth. And we've kind of brought together like the most useful areas of type of reporting and what it can do. Of course, everyone has kind of special needs and so forth, and so we're going to show you today on how to customize these reports to show exactly what you're looking for and how to best address it. I'm also going to show you how you can use some of these custom reports and how to and to put it into the dashboard, which is new for 12.0. So not only can you create custom reports, but you can in turn display that on your front screen so you can see that all the time. So here we have top categories, web filter. You get an idea of what people are going on your network. This is great. Maybe it's not exactly what you're looking for. So let's dive into some custom reports now. So you just go to Applications and then Reports and Manage Reports. So here you get an entire list of all the basically the CAN reports that we've pre-populated in your Untangle when you install reports on it. And one of the things that I find really useful is this particular server has quite a few port forwards, and it's I really like to know how much bandwidth a particular port forward is taking. So what I can do is take a look at my report. This shows this is in the bandwidth control. So if you have the bandwidth control module, and this shows the bandwidth going through the device. So I'll go ahead and click on that. And we kind of see the general bandwidth for this location for today. And I can change the date by clicking right here and just setting up a different date. So I can say, oh, I want to see it since yesterday. And you can do this for as much data as you have. This particular machine, I have it set up to log a year's worth of data. So it's quite a bit. And the longer you store the data, of course, the more it has to look at, and it may take a little longer for the reports, depending on the speed of your drives. So this is kind of interesting, but I'm like, well, you know what, I'm really interested in seeing what the traffic is from my port forward. So I'll go ahead and get out of this, and I'll look at my bandwidth usage. And I'm like, okay, so let me take a look at this report. So here's all the data that's in this report and how it works. We have a category name, really anything you want to call it, a title, just some kind of description, more for you than anything else, values and so forth of what we're going to do, and colored selection. So I'm like, well, I really don't want to do this from scratch, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this report. And so now I have a new copy. So I'm going to say I want the bandwidth usage for my port forward, which is at port 5330. Sorry, 5003. And then what I'll do is add a condition here. So I'm going to say I'm going to want to check out the, and we have all the columns already populated for you. So I want to go for server port, and it's going to be 5003. So I'm going to say, okay, done. And I've already changed the name of the report. And then I'm going to say done. And I'm going to go ahead and apply this. So I save my new report. And so you see I have my new report. It says bandwidth usage port 5003. So if I click on that, I can actually take a look at it. And you'll notice one thing, custom reports have the ability to be deleted. So in the delete column, we have an X that we can actually delete that column, and we can also edit it. So it's a little different than a standard report. The standard report you can't delete, but any custom report you can delete. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So it's going to go into the database and look for all the data that's bandwidth usage on port 503. So here we go. I can see what my bandwidth usage, so it looks like really this port forward does not take that much of my data. It's not bad at all. So, and I can change the date on this to anything I want. So let's say I want to see a week's worth of data for that particular bandwidth, and then I can go ahead and update that. And we'll just, it'll go through the database and rehash that data. I guess a week's of data, it's quite a bit on this one. So just to kind of go forward on this, so if you're looking for some of the data on what you're looking for, one of the easiest way is to click on the host view, session viewer. This can give you an idea of the client IP address, the server ports, applications, protocol, the application name, and so forth, and it makes it easier to find the relative fields for those data. So let's go back. Let's see this data. Oh, it's still generated. Must be busy right now. And that way you can get that on there. So one of the things of 12 too is we have the dashboard. And with the dashboard, you can actually put your custom reports into the dashboard by making a widget. So if we go widget, and let me just refresh the screen so I get the latest reports. And we go to Manage Widgets, and I say I want to add my new report. So if I look, I said we want report, and we're going to go down to bandwidth control, and here's my custom report, bandwidth usage by port 5003. So I select that, and I click Done, and I say OK. So now if I scroll down, I now have my custom report inside my dashboard. So if I'm really interested in a particular bandwidth of that particular report, I can have it right on my dashboard. I can see it every time. One of the huge powerful things of doing custom reports is that you can create widgets out of that. So let's go back here. Let's see here. So my report's done. So I can see the bandwidth is pretty regularly used. It looks like middle of the day is probably the busiest time for this particular report. So that's one of the reports. Like again, I can, let's say I don't like this, I need to make changes to it. I can go ahead and make edits to it and just say, you know, I don't like the colors of it. I can change the colors. You know, I can change it to a different kind of, instead of an area, I can do a line chart. Anyways, you can make it dozens of changes and put more conditions on that. So that's one type of report. Another kind of report that's I've been asked about before is how much bandwidth is a particular application in my network taking. One common usage is a lot of people have Dropbox in business situations, and sometimes Dropbox can actually take quite a bit of your bandwidth, especially when people don't click the peer-to-peer on LAN syncing. So what I can do is go ahead and say I want to find out what the bandwidth is for that particular one. So again, I'll use my bandwidth stock test, and I'll make a copy of it. And I'm going to do, I want bandwidth usage for Dropbox. And I'll go ahead and add a condition. So my condition is going to be application control. Let's go category for application control, and it's going to be equal to Dropbox. So I'll go done on that, done, and I'm going to apply that. And now I can look at how much bandwidth my people who are using Dropbox are taking on my network. So we'll just generate that report and we can see that. Again, once you, obviously nobody's really using that on our network for some reason. I'm really surprised on that one. I didn't get more data. But again, you can play with that and see, you know, how much data anything's using in particular. Let me just check that rule real quick to make sure I wrote it correctly. See, bandwidth control equals, and that is correct. And that's correct, yeah. So apparently today nobody's really using that. But again, that's what you can do. Some of the other pretty popular custom reports is if you go over to Web Filter, for example, you have in here like top categories requested and so forth. That's kind of useful. That shows, of course, for the entire network. But what I find a lot of times, I'm really interested in a particular person. If you're at a business or if you're at a school, for example, and you're curious about like a particular usage of a group of computers, or maybe you're having problems with an employee, what you can do is go with your top categories. And what I'll do, I'll say, I'm going to look for the top categories that a particular person goes to. In fact, I'm going to look for a particular IP that I happen to know somebody on the network. So I'm going to go ahead and put their IP. And I can put a group of IPs also here. So I'm going to add a condition, and it's going to be the client address is going to be this address. Now, again, I could just put in a whole series of IPs. I could use usernames. I could use host names. Pretty much anything to identify a group of computers. It's kind of useful if you have an Active Directory structure where you can just put a group name for users. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and click Apply again. So now I can see what categories this particular person goes to. So I'll go ahead and generate that report. Again, you can change the names of these. You can add conditions. You can add groups of conditions. If you want to do a group, you want to put the IPs in with commas. And we'll just, this person's going to have quite a bit of data. Oh, we're also looking at a week. Probably should have changed that before I launched it, so it wouldn't take so long. While that's generating, I just want to point out that on the wiki, we have really good on how to create reports, and that would be right here. It kind of goes through step by step how to create a custom report, how to generate data, how to find some of the IDs and so forth that you need for the SQL statement. Really useful step by step again. If you're using the SQL at the bottom here, so here here we have a report. So this person, let's see, they're going to a lot of streaming, a lot of content servers, which are usually, for example, like CNN, videos, stuff like that. Looks like they do quite a bit of social engineering, social networking, and a lot of news sites. So that kind of gives me an idea of where they're going. Let me just change this date so we get a little more. So anyways, that's the whole idea behind this, and you can create those reports. Again, if I want, I can put that on my dashboard, and I'll have a constant update every hour on the use of this particular IP because I've created a custom report. Again, if you want to, if you're just like, oh, this is not really interesting, I don't need it anymore, you just click the X and your report will be deleted. Some of the other ones that are pretty useful if you want to look at what are the top users on Facebook, for example, at the office. So what I'll do is I'll go to my top users here. Let's see here. Yeah, here, top clients by request. So I'll go ahead and take a look at this report. I'm going to copy it again, and I'm going to say top clients going to Facebook. So again, I'm going to just add a condition here, and I could use web filter for its category for, so I'll just put it for category. It's better than doing an exact IP because the problem with Facebook is they have so many domains that they use. So I'll go ahead and let's see here. And where is it? Category. And I don't remember the category offhand, so I'm just going to go in here. So let's go to web filter, and let's look at categories, and I want to get the exact name here, social networking. So what I'll do is just copy that name over. Okay, then I'll go back over here and done, and we're going to apply again. And if I click the play, I can see all the people that have been going to Facebook today. So, of course, if I had named all these IPs, I could just actually see the actual computers or the names of those. So it works out pretty well. I can see like, oh wow, this one's really going. This .28 is really at Facebook a lot. So is .112 quite a bit. So if you were at a business, you might have a discussion with them on that area. Again, I know pretty quick through them, but the wiki has some really good, step-by-step directions. This is on YouTube also. For the database, we actually listed out our entire database schema, so you can actually get individual results directly out of the database and create, if you really want to just create something completely different than any of the custom reports. So from there, I'll go over a few questions. Were there any really popular questions? Let's see here. Yes, sorry, I might have gone through there. Yeah, you can actually make a report. Not if we go over here, there's actually a report. Let's see here. That is on the administrators. You can go on setting changes. There's already a report on that will list out whenever settings changes were done, and then you can actually dig deeper into it and see what changes were actually made to the firewall.
Hey, John, sorry, had some technical issues. Yeah, we have some questions about kind of the default reports that you were talking about. A lot of people want to know how to make reports for individual user usage, either with blocked sites or what they're trying to access, which I think you kind of touched on.
Yeah, so really the key is pick a report that you're kind of interested for that particular person. Let's go down here to, I think I did that in Web Filter. Right here, Web Filter. So you can either use something like this, and then maybe put. You could also add instead of a category, I could go ahead and just say either a username, if I have some way of identifying that user, which would be right here, username. For example, if you're in a Active Directory environment where all the computers are actually directed to a login, you could have named them using the name map, or you can just, as I did, just use an IP address. Works pretty effectively if you actually know the IP address of that particular machine that you're using. And then you would just create a filter. This is really filtering by that IP address, and then you can run that report to find out on a particular user if that's what you're interested in. Let's see here.
There were some questions about making real-time reports, for instance, having a time frame of which you can have the report show.
So any of these reports, let's go here, Facebook usage. This is a custom report I made some time back. The time frame you can just set right here at the bottom. You just set it to any time frame you want. You can, let's see here, we'll go for today, and we want to, do it over like this week, and then we just hit refresh, and it'll regenerate based on that time frame. You could do a year. The key is you need to have the data for that time period, and it's based on the data retention. And let me just show you where that's at. So if we go onto the Reports Data tab, this is the data retention. It looks like I used to have this for a year. It looks like I backed this down to 93. think the hard disk was getting kind of full. It was a pretty small hard disk on this machine. That's the key right there. You can't go further than the data retention. So again, that data retention is solely on how big of a drive you put in your unit. Let's see. Let's see some of the questions here. Wow, it's really happening here. Probably number one question is about the update from 11 to 12. We're rolling that out actively right now. Half of the people should have the upgrade to 12 available on their machine as of today. Probably should have the rest of probably the other half done probably a couple weeks. We'll make that available. Again, if you want 12.0 right away, just send an email to support with your UID and saying that you'd like to have 12.0, and we'll put you on the priority list. Let's see. Yeah, you can get the time frame of reports. You can actually get it down. They were asking about 10 minutes at a time. So again, if you just go to reports, pick a report you want. Let's pick a good one like networking, for example. Let's just go down networking. Let's look at bandwidth usage. So I can go ahead and just change these, instead of from a day, I can change that to last 5 minutes, last hour, so forth. Most of these snapshots are done, I think, at 1 or 5 minutes. I'd have to check on that. So be careful on your granularity of your date span. You don't want to go down to like very little. So I can go ahead and say I want to check from, let's say it's 9 o'clock on the Pacific. So let's say from 8 o'clock until right now. So I can just do that. It's a very short time frame. So here's my report since 8 o'clock this morning. And you can see as people got into the office, the web usage went way up. Let me just browse through the yeah, I mean, really, you can do almost anything with reports. It's by far the easiest. As you can see, it takes me 5 minutes just to modify an existing one and add like the filters and controls, and I can even change the colors quickly. If you want to write a custom report from scratch, it takes a little time, especially on the first one. You really have to kind of look at the schema and see where the data is that you want, how to manipulate it and get it in the form that you're looking for, especially if you're looking to do any kind of graphing with it.
Hey, John. There were some questions about emailing reports, if you can touch base on that.
Sure. So we, as of 12, we got rid of the PDF. The PDF, first of all, the data was inconsistent with it, which actually was in the data files. Many people had problems reading the PDFs. It was especially a problem in foreign languages, especially double byte Japanese and Chinese. So we've eliminated those, and now what we have is a HTML email summary that gets sent out once a day. So when you get that summary, it will have links to the different reports. It will list the summaries of those reporting areas. But you can also click on it, and it will take you right to reports in that area, and then you can go through it. Let me see if I have a quick example of that. That is not the one. So let me just share this. This is what the summaries will look like. This is a real simple case. In this case, it did not have any applications installed. So normally you would have all kinds of application emails, application summaries further down here. But it will have a summary. You can click directly into the reports. It will show the domain of that particular person, domain of the particular box and its host, what version you're on, and how many summaries on there. It's much easier to read. You can actually use it on your mobile phone. It's mobile capable. So I find it more useful than the PDF because, one, I couldn't read PDFs on my mobile phone. Two, I can just click directly from my mobile phone and go to my reports and get any kind of information that I'm concerned about in that summary.
Hey, John. There are some questions about allowing certain users to access and view reports. Can you just go over that a little bit more?
Sure. Yeah, I kind of skipped that area. So one of the things that you can do now, ever since 10.0, was assign people to be able just to get to reports. And that is, let me find that real quick. Okay, so what I can do here in reports under email is I can add a user. So I can add a user called Joe, for example, and assign a password to him. And he can get the email summaries, and I can also give him online access, or I can just give him online access. And what he'll do is, in turn, just go to the reporting area. For example, on this particular server, I would just go to reports. And he'll get a login screen, and it'll take him right to the reports he wants to go to on that. Really simple, really easy to use. They won't be able to make changes to your firewall, but they'll have full access to creating, looking at reports and see what they can't create reports. That's one thing. They can only view the existing reports for any time period. Customizing the summary, no, you can't customize the summary. The summary is kind of set. We will be doing it a lot more with the email summary. This is really the initial pass. The summaries have been kind of a thorn that we really need to take care of and make those a lot more viable for people to use. Like again, I think more and more people do things on their mobile phones. It's just really nice when I get that report. If I'm on the train or anything, I can immediately, if something looks really off, I can immediately go click on the link and go to my report and see what I need to do and make any changes. Let's see what else. 12.0 is available for about half the people, like I said. It's not available for everyone because we have to roll that over a period of time. One, so our support team doesn't get overwhelmed by people asking, new questions about the new features. Two, just to manage the load on our servers. They're passing out the updates. And three, just so we can disseminate information on the new version. Again, you do not have to wait for the rollout if you would like to be an early adopter. And just, again, just send us your UID and we'll make that available within a few hours if you're looking to do that. Personally, I just kind of wait for the rollout on some of the servers I have out in the field just to get an idea of when it's going to be out. So definitely a lot of cool features. One of the things I didn't kind of passed over was just the whole dashboard and how easy it is to quickly see what's going on in your network. It's just great that when you do a custom report, you can go ahead and just insert that right into your widgets. This is one of the things I really like, where it shows the top domains within the last hour they're going to the report. Again, you can manage these. You don't have to have them all. You can just have one or two if that's what you're looking to do. Makes it really useful. And you can make changes. Again, you can change the time frame for those two. Like if you want to see one day at a time, or you don't want it to refresh that often, pretty easy to do. To me, it's one of my favorite pages right now. Just so easy for me to find out what's going on. Quick questions.
Hey John,
here.
I just wanted to reiterate, I know a lot of people are asking questions about the dashboard and the widgets. John actually did a Tech Talks last month about the dashboard, so in the follow-up email with this recording, I'll also include that webinar link for people that want to kind of learn not only to do the reports, but also make them into the widgets on their dashboard. So just for those people that are asking about that. We're kind of running out of time, John. If you want to head on over to the slide deck, we'll finish this up. And again, if you guys have any other questions, please just submit them in the chat box, and we'll try and get to them before we end. As I mentioned, always email us at support@untangle.com or sales@untangle.com. If you do need specialized assistance, whether it be upgrading, installing, configuring, we do offer professional services. If you guys have, somewhat of a complex environment, so that is always an option for you. If you go to the next slide, John. We have a new offering going on right now, kind of a special offer. Our new appliance, the U25 or U25W that we just rolled out, is the smallest appliance on the market today. We're very proud of it. And with a purchase of that in our complete package, you'll get a free 25 device 1-year license for our Total Defense antivirus solution for endpoints, and you can find more information on our website for that. And as I mentioned, we have a lot of resources. Along with these webinars, we also have our forums. We have the wiki that John was showing that has all our technical documentation. The forums is a community place for you to go on and ask questions to not only each other, but also our technical staff. They're on all the time, every day, 24/7, answering your questions. So if you can't find your answer in the wiki or with support, I would reach out to the forums. Someone may be having the exact same kind of setup or issue that you have, and you can get your answer there. We do have a couple new webinars coming up, not just the May 10th. We have Tech Talks SSL Inspector, but also we've put up our next few Tech Talks. So just go on our website and you can see the new ones coming up. We're excited, and as always, John will be doing these great demonstrations and showing us how to deep dive into these applications. Thanks, John. Thanks so much for the presentation, and we hope to see you guys next time.